Hello, and welcome back. Now you've been faithfully practicing your pranayama, and you may be ready for a new technique. Well, I'm excited for you that you're ready to try this new technique. We're going to integrate what we've learned so far in the 2 weeks we've been practicing and apply it to a new technique which is called Viloma Pranayama. Now in this technique, we're going to practice a 3 parts breath, pausing each part and trying to stay completely relaxed and calm while we hold breath and expand to our full potential. Now this is a lot of strain on the nervous system, and the first tendency is to panic. First tendency really is to overdo, which causes the panic. So I want you to practice doing less. Less is more with pranayama as you're learning these techniques. Over time, you'll become more and more comfortable. We're building a nervous system that can handle more prana. That's really the goal of breath work. So you can think of it like an electrician setting up a house. They have to do the wiring that is appropriate for the amount of volts that are going to go through the house. If you try to put too much voltage through, if you ever lived in an old house that can't handle a few hair dryers and things plugged in and the whole thing goes haywire when you try to send too much voltage through, that's like your nervous system when you practice pranayama. So the poses, being able to breathe deep and stay calm, that's all increasing your capacity. If you send too much voltage, not only can it not be used, but you tend to fry yourself out. You can burn out your nervous system. And B.K.S. Iyengar in his book, Light on Pranayama, says this is the opposite of what we're going for in pranayama, and it can cause a lot of damage. And I'm often discouraged by the breath techniques that are taught nowadays because they're taught by people who haven't expressed this warning and shown the basics. So I'm going to encourage you to stick with this and build a solid foundation. And then when you go to try more extreme techniques, you'll experience much more benefit from them. So let's start just with the relaxation. So you're going to lie down onto your back and relax. This is how all pranayama sessions should be done unless you're enlightened and you're not carrying any baggage anymore. You can just approach the mat completely baggage free, okay, so we're going to just start by completely relaxing. Bring the awareness to the breath. And just notice the movement and the quality of the breath. Feel your body relax. Empty before you begin. Let go of what you're holding. Empty physically, empty emotionally and psychically. And now that you've emptied, notice how that changes the perception and quality of breath. So there's so much to it. It's not just get on your mat and start huffing and puffing. It's a relationship we're building with prana over time. Start to slow down and notice that as you relax, deeper, fuller breaths can be invited without strain. Then roll over to your side and let's try this Voluma technique. So sit in your chair. I would recommend going to sit in the chair unless you can already do poses like Padmasana, or you can do wide-legged forward folds with ease. But just out of convenience, the chair's over there, so I'm going to sit on the block. Sit up tall without any strain. A good intermediate step, if you feel like you've conquered the chair, is you can sit on the lift with your back against something. Why the lift? Because unless you're going to sit in lotus, the thighs can't drop down appropriately and keep the torso upright. So lotus was the pose for pranayama without any lift. But as Westerners, we struggle to sit in that. Well, some of you guys aren't Westerners, actually. Maybe you could sit in the lotus. See how it goes for you. All right, so as you sit upright without straining, we're going to practice the full expansion of the ribcage. Start on the exhalation and let all of the air out. Get empty. And then imagine your balloon expand. Allow the balloon to expand in your ribcage. Once it's fully expanded, don't overdo it. Let it all out. One more time like that. Practice fully expanding. Fully deflating. And then the ujjayi. Lift your head and open your eyes. So a new teaching. Why dipping the chin? I thought we were supposed to stay upright. Well, the Jalandhara Bandha helps to seal the energy in the spine. It was thought that moving the energy in the spine is primary. Now you might want to say like, oh, well, what about the energy centers above? Well, it was also thought that by letting the front brain surrender to the heart and letting the hindbrain, the more basal, the more instinctual, the more reptilian, where our unconscious comes from, as was it Jung or Freud? I think they both talked about it because Jung was a student. But it's thought that this becomes more connected by aligning it over the spine, the hindbrain, the reptilian. So by letting the forebrain rest, you're more in touch with the instinctual, the feeling, that deep limbic brain. So that's for the chin tuck. Now we're going to practice the Viloma, a 3 parts breath. We're going to first try it on the exhalation. So you'll take a full breath in, and then you'll pause without any strain, without freaking out. Then you'll let a third of the air out, pause. Another third out, pause. All the air out, pause. Full breath in. This can be very difficult to stay calm throughout the pauses. So let's try it. Sit up tall, gently tip the chin, let the air out. Ujjayi breath in. Pause. Let a third out. Pause. Let another third out. Pause. Let it all out. Pause. Breathe in. Pause. Let a third out. Pause. Another third. Pause. Let it all out. Pause. Go back to normal breathing. Gently tip your head up. Notice the effect. Wow. Even more powerful than what we practice with just ujjayi. Because you're slowly increasing your body's ability to hold the prana and expand the prana and expand our ability to process prana. Open your eyes. Now, a couple of things. You're trying to make the 3 parts equal. So if at the end you're like, oh, I didn't have any breath to let out, go a little shorter on the first 2. What else? Keep in mind with the ujjayi sound, even adding this 3 parts, you're still trying to make it very smooth, not sputtery. If you feel your body fighting, you're doing too much. So you just go back to relaxing. Now I'm going to introduce the inhalation pattern. Now it's thought that the exhalation is more productive to calming and cooling the nervous system, or creating more of a yin, or favoring the lunar, or calming. Whereas doing the 3 parts on the inhalation is thought more to excite the solar energy in the body, the heating. So you can use this then at times when you need it. So you might think like, oh, I'll do in the morning, if I'm going to have a morning pranayama, I could do the 3-part inhalation, pausing. Versus if I'm going to practice in the evening, I could do the 3 parts exhalation. If you need energy to get through a task at work or something, what have you, you could just do a little of that 3 parts breath. So let's try the in and see if you notice a difference. I should have done it first and then see if you can notice a difference, but now it's going to, we can't, these results will not be, this is not scientific now, this experiment. Okay, so sit up tall, gently tip your chin without caving your chest and let the air out. Expand, allow the bottom third of the lungs to expand. Pause, allow the middle. Pause. Allow the top. Pause. Let it all out. Expand the bottom of the lungs. Pause. Middle. Pause. Top. Pause. Let it all out. One more round. Bottom. Middle. Top. Pause. And let it out slowly. Gently tip your head up. Notice the effects. And open your eyes. Now, one more new teaching for you is that you want to think of the breath drawing down, like I mentioned in the second part, but you think of it like filling a jug with water. How as you hold the jug underneath the sink or spigot or whatever, that the water would go all the way down, spread out to the sides, and then slowly fill up the jug. Think of your breath moving into your lungs like that. Now that's not representative of what they look like if you see lungs expanding, but the idea of attempting to draw the breath all the way down will help with a better expansion of the lungs, as opposed to just taking shallow breaths up into the top. It'll allow for full expansion and being able to stay more relaxed, in theory. So let me know how it went. Let me know if you felt the difference between the in and out. And then these are techniques that I'd like you to practice on your own. Practice it for about 5 minutes, just practicing that breath cycle, whether it's on the in or the out, whatever you feel like you're needing. Thanks so much. Namaste.